See you way later.
He struck him out. Guerrero gets Ohtani.
They're fighting. They're swinging. Down goes Anderson. Down goes Anderson.
Welcome back to All MLB Podcast, episode 4. Here with Jarek Bodlovic. Jarek, how was your Christmas?
Well, first off, Merry Christmas, everyone. It was good, man. I got a lot of good stuff, and got to spend a lot of good time with family. How was your Christmas?
It was great. Unfortunately, my grandpa was sick, so I didn't get to spend time with him, but I was able to spend time with my mom's side of my family, so that was a good time.
Christmas is busy. You got a lot of families to go to. I know it was at my dad's side on Christmas Eve, mom's side Christmas Day, so it can be chaotic, but it was a good time.
Exactly. It's very chaotic when you have divorced parents.
Yeah, I'm sure those divorced families out there have a little bit more traveling to do than some.
Yeah. No, I actually saw a meme where it was just like two kids driving around waving to all the other divorced kids driving around.
The awkward wave to every other divorced kid on the road.
Exactly. Yeah. Great times on Christmas Day. Yeah.
Did you do that this year? You see anybody on the road you just wave to?
I didn't actually wave to people. I was in the mood to just get where I was going.
Yeah, fair.
I was excited about the presents, man.
Hey, I mean, who is it?
We got big news. Aven's a genius, actually.
Yeah. Little Christmas miracle for Dodgers fans.
Yeah, Yoshinobu Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers.
Oh, it hurts the soul.
Baseball fans all over the world are angry at the Dodgers.
Very angry. Some people are claiming they're more hated than the Astros now, which is a hot take, especially for Dodgers fans. I mean, I think it's true, but Dodgers fans might not agree. Anybody else, though?
It might be true.
Well, Black still might hate the Astros more. But, yeah, what did you get, 12 years?
It was a big contract.
$50 million signing bonus also, so a lot of money up front.
And how much are they paying then to his MVP?
It's an additional $50 million over to MVP. So it's like it ends up coming out to about $375 million total. So about $1.1 billion spent this offseason for the Dodgers, which is pretty impressive. I don't know if that's a record, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure it is. There's no way that a team spent more in the offseason.
The closest I can think of was when the Rangers signed Seager and Simeon, but that was just under $1 million. So,
under $1 million? You mean
under $1 billion?
Under $1 billion, yeah.
That was like $300 a piece. So
yeah, I bet you they've probably spent in total that for offseason like $750. Maybe not even.
Well, I don't know if it's a record, but I'm gonna say it is a record just for this episode.
Yeah, you gonna go give them one of those world record titles?
Yeah, I'll call it the Guinness Book of World Records and get somebody over. But the Cardinals get to play the Dodgers on opening day, so
I'm sure
that's why the ticket prices are so high. Everybody wants to watch Sonny Gray.
Exactly.
Start in LA opening day, day
Cardinals
one.
Get those tickets.
Yamamoto is gonna get taken deep by at least 3 Cardinals players, and you're gonna instantly regret it.
I don't know.
That's not true.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Another person we touched on last time, Yuki Matsui finalized his deal, 5 years with the Padres. What do you think about that?
Interesting. I wasn't expecting the Padres to do much. I mean, they're offloading so much money already to kind of bring in a reliever as one of the more interesting positions to fill because you can get really cheap guys in that area.
Yeah.
So unless they're kind of maybe not planning for this year, but the next year or even this year, I do like the move though for them overall.
5 years surprised me for sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting
5 in any length for a reliever is always scary because it's so volatile.
Yeah. Another guy. Is that today? Kevin Kiermaier with the Blue Jays?
Yes. Kevin Kiermaier and Martin Maldonado both signed today.
Jeez.
Kevin Kiermaier just re-signed with the Blue Jays, so he's not going anywhere. I don't know what that means for our Cody Bellinger hopes out in Toronto. I think that's where I predicted him going. I'll have to go back and check, but I don't know. I don't know where Bellinger's going to go now. I thought the Blue Jays would have been a great landing spot, but that kind of fills the need out in center that they had, so I think he's a good fit out there. He had a good season last year, and he's a great defender. So
I'm still sitting here. I was talking to my dad about it today. Actually, where is Cody Bellinger going to go?
I think he has to go back to the Cubs. I don't see many teams that are going to be in on him. I think the Yankees. The Yankees now that they missed out on Yamamoto could go back in.
Yeah.
But I think they already got 4 outfielders with Judge, Soto, Grisham, and Verdugo already. I don't think there's any room for him, and they have Rizzo at first.
Do we think Bellinger could play anywhere else in the infield, or Rizzo could play? Rizzo can't play anywhere else.
He throws left-handed. I don't think they can really do much. I mean, you could always just move somebody to the DH slot, but I mean, you got Stanton. So you'd have to. I think the Yankees are just
It's not
off.
like the Yankees like Stan at the time.
No. But he's owed so much money, you kind of have to play him.
That's true.
But he will get
you're not gonna
hurt
rid of him.
if you ask anybody on the Yankees.
Yeah.
So.
Topic of this episode, we've been excited about it for a little while. We finally are getting to it. We're getting into our All MLB Sneaky Team. Jarek and I've been working on this for a little bit now. Jarek, you want to start us
We've
off?
been cooking
with
it
our
up for a
first?
few weeks. So we're just going to kind of go around the league, trying to focus on players that weren't really nominated for like the MLB first All MLB team, but we got some players that had really great seasons that might have went under the radar, or just some names that were kind of newer to the league this year. We'll start it off with Ryan Jeffers of the Minnesota Twins. It's kind of a name that you need to learn because he was probably a top 10 catcher in all of baseball, and he's probably going to be ranked as such going into next year. He hit 276 with a 138 WRC plus. I mean, he split time with Christian Vasquez in Minnesota, so he didn't get nearly as many games as I'd like to see. I think he only started 96. So you could see a little bit more, and so we'll get maybe more of a full sample size next year. But he had a great year.
Yeah, no. I mean, I honestly didn't know much about him going into this year. And I was really surprised making this list sort of thing to see him. He just kept popping up on the catchers. So I think we had to put him here just because he went so under the radar. So
Right. And that's exactly the point of the team. We want to have these names that you're like, oh, I didn't even know about that guy, and now he's a top 10 catcher in the sport. I mean, he had finished with the slash line of 276, 369, 490. So we will see if that's sustainable. Fortunately, the projections don't really like him for next year, but those guys are never right.
They don't know ball.
No, they don't know like us. So
Exactly.
he's our catcher for today. We had a few honorable mentions. Keibert Ruiz. We won't talk about him for all, but he was the other guy we were deciding on right before we found Ryan Jeffers. So shout out to Keibert as well.
Big fantasy guy right there.
Carrying Even's fantasy baseball team all year.
Exactly. Moving on to first base, we have Spencer Torkelson. This is his second season with the Tigers. Had a slash line of 233, 313, and 446. Guy got 31 home runs.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of what everybody expected out of his rookie year, to be honest. I mean, first overall pick for a first baseman is really rare. The top 10 prospect as a first baseman alone is already really rare. And he was really disappointing in year one. And the average was low, but 31 home runs, 34 doubles is pretty hard to complain about in your sophomore season. He's probably only going to get better next year. Could easily see him getting to maybe 40 home runs.
Yeah.
But I mean, 40 home runs, 30 doubles next year is a great season. So I think the Tigers are going to be pretty happy with him going forward.
Exactly. And sort of a trend I've seen with our list is most of these guys play at teams like the Tigers that are just so small market. And it'd be really interesting, just sort of in an alternate universe, if he's at a better team. He's probably not so underrated. People are probably talking about him more.
Exactly. And a lot of these teams were also not super good. I know the Tigers did finish in second place, but it was a really weak division. So a lot of these guys will be on teams that, like Aven was saying, smaller market or just teams that underperform. Yeah. And when that happens, they're not getting the attention. So that's why a lot of these guys are going to be on the sneaky team because they didn't get the recognition during the season.
Yeah. You know who's not on a small market team? Like that transition. Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees. We have him here for our second baseman. 273, 347, 453 for the slash line.
I love Gleyber Torres. MLB The Show bias. He was my second baseman in MLB 19, but he had a great season. If it wasn't for, I believe it was 2019 when we had all those juice baseballs and he hit 30 home runs, I think people wouldn't have been going at him so much in the recent years. But he had 25 home runs and 123 RBIs or 123 WRC plus.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So he had a great year. He's had a few weird seasons moving around from short to second, but now he's finally found a home at second, which is where he belongs because he can't play short. Not the best defender out there. I'm excited to see because this is his walk year, so he'll be a free agent after this year. So I expect him to put up another good season, and it'll be interesting to see if the Yankees want to keep him around.
Yeah, no, and that's something I know everyone's talking about the Yankees outfield. But I really enjoy watching that Yankees middle infield. They're really fun to watch between those two.
Yeah, Volpe. He's a good addition.
He's a
to
fun
that team.
player.
They have a lot of fun young guys on that team. And I mean, Glaber's only 27, so you can still categorize him as one of those young guys. And he's still only getting to his prime. So we'll see what he has in store for next year.
You know if Savant has him projected better or worse? I know you're a big
That
Savant guy.
will be interesting to see. I would hope it's better.
I could see it being either way, honestly. Savant's kind of harsh sometimes.
I mean, all of his peripherals are pretty good. His expecting batting average was 282. What did he? I mean, his expected
true.
batting average was higher. His expected slugging was higher by 20 points. So I could see him continuing his success for next year.
A little bit more luck, and he has a better season.
Yeah. And the next guy moving on for shortstop, Matt McLean of the Reds. Unfortunately, he got hurt to end the season. Otherwise, he would have had a great case for Rookie of the Year. But he had a really good season, and I'll let you dive into him a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just go over his slash line, that sort of thing. Batted 290, 357 on base, 507 slug. Accumulated a 3.7 WAR in just 89 games.
That's impressive.
That's really impressive, especially for a first season.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, I mean, he hit really well. I mean, ballpark factor is going to factor in a lot. But he was a really good defender at short. And I know they put Ellie at short once Ellie came up and he slid over to second. But I think I think you should move Ellie to third, Matt McLean at short. I'm just saying the glove's going to play better at short.
Third could be interesting too. He's got a cannon there.
Yeah, he played some third in the minors before he came up.
You know how he did there? He was good? Okay.
Yeah. I think he'd be a better third baseman defensively. Like his range is great, but I think glove-wise, he would fit in better at third.
Yeah. That's about all we got to say about McLean, though. Moving on to third base, we have Jaime Candelario. Played with the Cubs this year. Who did he just sign with?
So he signed with the Reds.
That's right.
So he started the season last year on the Nationals and was traded to the Cubs at the deadline. So that you might have heard his name after the trade deadline. But I mean, even with the Nationals, he had a really good year. He had 22 home runs and a 119 OPS plus. So no slouch of a season for him. He had 251, 336 slash line with a 471 slug. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty issues, but I think we got it figured out.
We're all good.
But awesome season for Jaime Candelario. And he's the 8th season as well, but he did lock down, I believe it was a four-year deal, 5-year deal.
I think it was 4.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he fits in on the Reds next year. I played a majority of his games at third. I don't know if that'll be the case next year, if he'll fill in at first with Votto gone, or if he'll DH, or maybe just play a little bit of everywhere. But Reds got a lot of infielders, so I would expect a trade out of him.
That's true. Okay. Moving out to the outfield now, left fielder Nolan Jones is our next guy here. Played for the Rockies, 297, 389, 542 is a slash line, 4.3 WAR. That's a good player right there. You get 4 wins out of him.
Yeah, Nolan Jones was the top prospect for a while with the Guardians. Kind of traded him away in a little bit of a roster crunch because his power wasn't really playing like they thought. But he proved that wrong in Coors. He had a really great season, and he had a really great glove out in left field, which is surprising because I think he came up almost as a third baseman as well. So like a third/corner outfield guy. And he had a really great defensive season out there, which I wasn't expecting. So I don't think the Rockies could ask for much more out of their 25-year-old left. So
it'll be fun to see him progress. There's a lot of second season guys on this list that I'm really excited.
Right, and they're only going to get better. And it's exciting because you can take Chris Bryant out of the outfield now. I mean, we haven't seen Chris Bryant healthy in, I feel like, ages.
Yeah. Since
like 2019, it feels like.
But that's this trend in Coors, I feel like, though. Everyone's always getting hurt out there.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you can maybe move Bryant to just let him DH now, just let him only hit and see what he can do. But this one's all about Nolan Jones. And he had a phenomenal year.
He did. Moving over to center field, we have Jarren Duran, 3rd season on the Red Sox this season. Slash line was 295, 346, and 482. What do you got to say about him?
Not the biggest power guy, but I mean, he's on here because 99th percentile in speed. He steals all the bases in the world. He hit almost 300, and he's a phenomenal defender. But you can't sleep on the pop either. He had a 482 slug. So phenomenal season out there.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a ton to say about him, I don't think.
No, I argued hard for him to be on the list. I know there were some questions, but I think he's very deserving of being on the sneaky team.
Yeah, I'd just say center field's kind of a weird position where the people are usually just either very noticeable out there or not very good.
Yeah, it's
sort
like
of
you
thing.
have really like 5 elite guys, and then it just falls off the table kind of thing.
So it's definitely something where you just have to be above average and you'll get on this team probably for center field, I'd say.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Moving over to right field is somebody I'm really excited about. If you look at the Tigers, there's a lot of young guys. We already talked about Torkelson, but you have Riley Green, who's the big outfield prospect. But they have Kerry Carpenter out there as well. He's a little bit older. He's 26, but he put up a 121 WRC plus, which I think is going to be huge for that Tigers team. I mean, they're really young, just another bat to add. In Coors Field, anytime you can get a little bit of pop, because it's so big, it's super important. But I think he's a big addition to that young core.
Exactly. No, I mean, Tigers are just building over there. I think I had some sort of prediction a while ago for the Tigers sort of to be very good
That's
next
what they
year.
all say. Come on, guys.
I'm excited about the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers, I could easily see winning the division next year. I know they were only 9 games back of the Twins, and the Twins aren't really doing anything. Tigers have made a few moves, so it's good to see them being active, and we'll see what they can do next year.
Yeah. Our next guy, I tried to argue him off the list, but Marcell Ozuna is filling our DH spots with the Braves /274, 346, 558, and put up a 139 WRC plus and 40 home runs.
It's an impressive
He had a
season.
good season, but is he really sneaky?
That's the thing you have to talk about is, first off, there's not many just purely DHs, so we were kind of considering maybe just throwing in a random bat, but then there's so many people to choose from, and Ozuna had a really great year as the DH. I mean, everybody on the Braves did, but he's had a few, I wouldn't say down seasons, but he hasn't really put up 40 home runs since his breakout year in Miami in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, him getting to that mark, a 139 WRC plus, hitting almost 300 with 275 average, it was really impressive out of him. I mean, he's 33. So,
No, I think that's kind of an effect though. It was like when everyone's hitting,
yeah,
everyone keeps
everybody's
hitting,
rolling.
man. Yeah.
So I knew there was a lot of talks about the Braves fans not being super happy with him last year. So I think he kind of proved everybody wrong, and they'll be just as happy with him going into next year.
Exactly. He kind of reaffirmed his position there. Next guy, our utility guy. This is going to be our last guy on the list today. Christopher Morel, second season with the Cubs /247, 313, 508. Guy just kind of was able to get around to everywhere in the field and help out wherever was needed.
Yeah, a great utility player. I know in years past he's played a little bit more like second or center, but this year with their needs, he bounced around a lot more, which is why we threw him in the utility spot. 26 home runs and a 42% heart rate is pretty impressive out of this guy. He's a guy that you could easily see hit 30 home runs next year. Problem is he's just so streaky.
Yeah.
He'll go on these crazy tears, and then he'll have rougher weeks where he strikes out a lot. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how he settles in next year. For technically his third season, it won't be like his third full season, but see what adjustments he can make in the off season and see how he can have a transition to next year.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he settled more into a singular position sort of thing next year, especially with Bellinger gone.
Yeah, I mean that would open up a spot. I think he fits better in a corner. You could maybe slide, somebody else's center. But I think he'll have probably a more solidified spot next year, and I think it'll help the bat play because you're not worrying about so much of defensive work when you get to go out there and do your one position practice and then take it to the batting cage. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that wraps up the hitters for our All MLB Sneaky Team. I think, you got anything else to add there?
No, that was a quicker one. We just wanted to get this one out there. We'll probably do something for pitchers as well.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get that out sooner than
Yeah,
later.
we'll
for
have that
sure.
one out quick, hopefully. We'll have to work on that one though, so that one might be a little bit, but
Yeah.
we got some ideas, so that one should be out soon.
Absolutely. Hope you guys enjoyed the intro on the last couple episodes.
Oh, that's right. We snuck that new intro in on there
Uh-huh.
for you guys.
We were excited about that, so we'll see how that
Hey,
works
let us
out.
know what you think.
Go follow all the socials on Twitter, Instagram. Hopefully by the time this goes out, we'll also be on Apple Music if you're listening there.
Check us out there as well. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas. But that'll do it for us today.
Yeah. Get out of here.